although we are adding rides and times as well. So, again, thank you for coming out. But what we're going to do today is, after we go through the mechanics of the bikes, we're going to head out to the canal. It's 2 miles out. We're going to stop 2 times to talk about things on the trip, talk about the marsh, talk about some of the birds and some of the creatures in the marsh. And then we're going to go out to the Garrett Preserve. We'll talk a little bit about that. At that point, we'll head to the canal and we'll turn the bikes around at the canal. You'll have an opportunity to stretch your legs. There's some picnic tables there, a little shade. We also have, there's a couple of viewing areas. We'll turn the bikes around, then we'll come back to the Garrett Preserve. Jack will unpack that for you because it truly is a wonder of Cape May. You'll be able to explore the Garrett Preserve and then we'll come back in. So I'm going to need everybody to give me a commitment of an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Can everybody do that?
Yeah.
All right, great. So what I'm going to have Tommy do now is he's just going to tell you a little bit about the bikes, about the safety features, and try to make you as comfortable as possible on the bike. All right, thank you, Ed.
All right, so we have 2 style bikes for you guys to ride on today, depending on the size of your group. 2-seaters and 4-seaters. And 1 seat on each bike is unlike any other. That's the brake seat. There's only 1 per bike. It is located on the tandem facing forward on the right seat, and on the quads facing forward, it's on the back right seat. We're going to ask you to put the most responsible person in your group.
Tommy,
No?
look at this group. What is this family? What are they going to do?
I think the seagull shirt lady has a good
Oh,
chance.
she looks responsible. I'm not
Just
sure.
her.
Very.
I'm not sure. What are you guys?
Mickey Mouse has got a chance.
What are we going to do? I think we'll have to do rock, paper, scissors.
We can
for
flip
most
a coin.
groups. Yeah, I think we'll flip a coin.
They got bumpers, right?
They have, and you signed the waiver,
Yeah,
right?
they got
The waiver.
bumpers.
All right,
Waivers.
all right, forget it.
We're good.
Forget about the brakes. Don't worry about it.
Alright, so the brake person is not only responsible for stopping your own bike, but letting the bike behind you know that you're braking. Do that by throwing your arm up in the air. We call that the brake dance. It helps us avoid any rear-end collisions. Also with the brakes, you want to hold it when you're getting on and off the bike. That way we don't have to worry about anyone falling off the seat. So it's rolling away from you. It stays where you are. Everything's nice and clean. Now another safety feature on all the bikes is the seatbelt. Just goes over your waist, just like any seatbelt you'd find on an airline. Although the bikes do not fly, the seatbelt will stop you from flying off the bike. Although we really don't see that being an issue, we like to have it for safety. We ask that you put the seatbelt back on the bike when you get off, either at the turnaround at Garrett or back here. That way they don't get caught in the gears, dragged through the mud, or break. And the person who uses the bike after you has a clean, functioning seatbelt to use. Now the seats themselves, they do move forward and back depending on where you need to be in relation to the pedals. Pull this lever up on the outside of the seat, not to be confused with the handlebar here, but the lever right underneath. Pull it up, slides forward and back. What we tell people is you want a slight bend in your knee when you're fully pedaled out. That way you're not working out your quads too much and it's a comfortable ride out to the canal and back. What will happen though when you are pedaling, because of the recumbent nature of the bikes, is your pants pockets are going to be facing the ground. Phones, wallets, keys, anything you don't want to lose that you typically keep in those pockets, you want to move to a zippered pocket or a bag. All the bikes have bags, baskets that you can put your bags in, so you don't have to worry about losing anything out on the track. We ask that any cash you do have, you leave in your pockets, that way Ed can go around at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And lastly, we like everyone to have their own experience out on the bikes. We do that by keeping a safe following distance around 25 feet. For reference, that river flower in the corner there, that's 25 feet long. Keep that distance, everyone can have their own conversation, enjoy their own views, and enjoy the ride themselves. Although, for a couple of our stops where we're giving historical notes, bring the bikes together just like they are now so everyone can hear what we have to say or the questions that other riders might have to ask. How'd I do, Ed?
Pretty good, pretty good. Here's the tip for Tommy. All right, Tom. A couple of other things, folks. If anybody has any concerns or questions, medical conditions, please let me know. Like the last trip, somebody asked, can I do it? Yes, you can do it. We had a 95-year-old woman do it yesterday. You definitely can do it. Then somebody asked me a couple of days ago, I'm allergic to bees and hornets. Should I bring my EpiPen? Yeah, you should bring your EpiPen. I don't have one. So those are good conversations to have, all right? We have a lot of experience in wilderness first aid from up in the Adirondacks. Also, Tommy has seen every episode of Grey's Anatomy, so he can pretty much handle most emergencies. Okay. So with that, are there any groups that have more than one bike? Okay. So what do you have? You have a
We have a 4 on 2.
4 and a 2. Okay. So here's a 4. Let me get you. And we have a 2 right behind us. Okay. 4. You got 4. All right.
You guys 4. You guys take this bike here. You guys 2.
Yeah, so we're both.
You're 2.
We have 2.
Well, I think you're going front.
You're 4.
Yeah, 4.
Okay, so come and take this bike here. And here's a 2 for you guys. Just good. He'll pop over. You'll take the break. Okay. A 2. Come on up front. And are you a 4? How about this one? I just had it washed and waxed. Got you. Trying to figure out where the break is, if there's a break, whatever. So that this person puts their foot down over that wheel to try to stop the bike. So anything better than that is a victory for me. You guys did great. Thank you very much about braking. You see, the problem with braking is in New Jersey, there's so many plaintiffs' attorneys, we'd be broke in a few days. So thank you so much for keeping it safe. I wanted to stop in the marsh just to make sure that everybody sees some of the things that we see. Like you see our friend the osprey up there. There's 3 osprey nests. You might have seen the one out in the marsh. There's another one on the way back. You'll see it. It's up by the road. And then there's another one between the road and the marsh. And mama ospreys are on the nests and dads are fighting for food and flying all over. It's really, they're beautiful. Yesterday we saw a juvenile bald eagle back here trying to get near the osprey nest, and that is a no-no. Ospreys don't like that. We also saw that snowy egret. They're really skittish, and you can tell that it's a snowy egret because snowy egrets have black bills and black legs. Great egrets have yellow bills and yellow legs, and they're a little bigger. So there's a lot going out in the marsh. At this time of the day, you may also see jumping black racers. They are about a 5-6 foot long black snake that they go around the rails and try to avoid them. But they are out here. They are constrictors. They are not venomous. The other thing you might have seen is out in the marsh, you might have seen a group of sticks with twine connecting them. That is a reseeding project undertaken by New Jersey Fish and Wildlife to replant the Spartina grass, which is so important to the waters of New Jersey. Spartina grass desalinates water before it goes back into the rivers and streams of Jersey. So The other thing you should see is if you look at that tree line on the right, you see there's track at the base of it. There's also another tree line back there. There's track at the base of it. And there's this track. Those tracks were used to turn trains around. You see, back in the early 1920s, steam locomotives would come down from Philadelphia and they would drop their passengers off at the station, and then they would back out to fill up with water, because steam locomotives are really only limited by how much water they could carry. They always had enough fuel. So they would back up, fill up, then they'd go out into the marsh and effectively do a K-turn out in the marsh. Then they would back to the station, and then their passengers would face the way you are, heading north for the trip back to Philly. So those tracks were important for that. This track is really cool because this goes all the way out to Sunset Beach. If you have time to get out to Sunset Beach, it's a really, really cool spot. And this track goes behind Willow Creek. It goes behind Beach Plum Farm. It goes behind Ray's Farm. It also goes through the old magnesite plant. Magnesite is a chemical compound that used to be made out in the plant by the bay. And when the plant closed, they ripped up the track in the plant, but they left the track between the beach and the plant. Over the years, that track has been covered with sand, but every so often, due to erosion, due to waves, action, storms, it gets exposed. And those are the ghost tracks of Cape May, which you may have heard about. So this is a very cool track. So what we're going to do now is we're going to keep going. We're going to pass the water tower. By the way, this water tower supplies the other side of Cape May with its water. They just redid the water main, so we're going to go through the construction site. And we're going to get to the Garrett Preserve. The Garrett Preserve is a wonder, and we're going to spend a lot of time there. But it used to be a lima bean farm, and it used to be a gladiola farm. Now, lima beans grow really well in Cape May because there's so much limestone in the ground. And lima beans grow better when there's a lot of lime in the soil. Do you believe that? Come on. No, I don't think so. You don't believe that? No, that's not true. But it is true that there's a lot of lima beans in Cape May, and there's actually a lima bean festival. You eat lima beans? She's looking at me like, why is this guy talking? And the Lima Bean Festival is very popular here, and we will talk more about that when we get down to Garrett. Alrighty? So any questions? Anybody need a seat adjustment? Good? Alright. Off to Garrett.
I like that farm.
Ready?
Yep. We're ready.
No, we would. You just had it.
Yeah, we would. We would have it. Oh, yeah.
Cape May's wonders. If you've come to Cape May often or live down here and you didn't know about the Garrett Family Preserve, you're really missing out on a great spot. Great to spend an afternoon, go for a picnic. Really is wonderful. And we're going to stop there on the way back. Jack's going to talk about why it's important for the birds and the butterflies of the area as they migrate through Cape May. The preserve will be on your right for about the next half mile. So that'll be as we head down to the canal. It'll be on your right. Then when we get to the canal, you guys will get off. We'll spin the bikes around, talk a little bit about why that area is so special. Any questions? Great.
Such a great thing to do. I'm happy to know it. I hit the wrong brick.
Garrett Family Preserve. Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
Grab on it.
There may not be a second
Yeah,
summer.
I think that would be a great picture though.
We might say December's a better time.
You guys
Yeah, the fall is probably good.
You know?